For my Module 3 project, I'm going to be discussing Dr. Faustus. I chose the 2005 Form B prompt about the desire for power. Because it is human nature to desire power, Christopher Marlowe's dramatic and tragic play, Dr. Faustus, displays Faustus's quest for ultimate power, which leads him to make a deal with the devil, revealing the darkness of man. The play Dr. Faustus is definitely driven by Faustus's attempt to gain power. Faustus displays his desires by romanticizing the ideas of power and magic. The beginning of the play starts with Faustus in his study, confessing his discontent towards his life. He is bored of his current studies and wishes to take on something perhaps more challenging or exciting. He plays with the ideas of new studies, as he says, Be a physician, Faustus, and couldst thou make men to live eternally? He then dwells in his fantasies. Shall I make spirits fetch me what I please, and reign sole king of all the provinces? The possibility of these magical acts of complete power completely entrance Faustus. Later in the story, the same theme returns when Faustus says, The doctor stands prepared by power of art to cast his magic charms. Faustus has fantasized about this power and is ready to possess it. He is continuously longing for more power than he has. Because this longing for power is so strong, Faustus goes as far as agreeing to sell his soul to the devil. The idea of power is immensely enticing and tempting, causing Faustus to neglect any thoughts of negative consequences that may occur, and make the deal with Lucifer through Mephistopheles. From the start of the play, it is clear that Faustus will go to great lengths to obtain some power. While considering his future studies, he says, These metaphysics of magicians in neocromantic books are heavenly. Aye, these are those that Faustus most desires. Faustus most desires to practice his magic. He does not care what has to be done to do so. As the play progresses, we see Faustus starting to regret his decision to agree to his deal. However, a combination of fear for Lucifer and Mephistopheles, as well as a reinforcement of his new power, causes Faustus to settle and accept the terms of his agreement. Towards the beginning of his contract, Faustus questions Mephistopheles about God and heaven. Mephistopheles will not give him an answer, and Faustus should not be thinking of God. This is a regretful moment for Faustus, and he pleads for forgiveness. Mephistopheles and Lucifer come in and threaten Faustus. They attempt to ensure he will only think of evil. Faustus confirms this by saying, Nor will Faustus henceforth pardon him for this, and Faustus vows to never look to heaven. Faustus was fearful of the devils and reminded of the power he now possesses, which caused him to overlook his worries and forget about God. It is evident that Faustus's desire for power is blinding to him. His judgment is clouded and his thoughts are distracted. In a newspaper article discussing Dr. Faustus, Souza writes, Mephistopheles constantly warns Faustus about what hell is really like, but Faustus, a Renaissance secular man, prefers to think of it as a medieval fable. This reinforces the idea that Faustus is blindly following power, paying no attention to what he has to do or where he has to go to get it. Dr. Faustus can be considered an outcast for many reasons. He displays characteristics that are typical of a common outcast. The main distinction I see is the eventual separation from his colleagues and the rest of society when he goes to hell. Faustus voluntarily is working with the devil, which in of itself is characteristic of an outcast, for his society is focused on God and the good of the world. Because Faustus does this, he essentially chooses to be an outcast. Additionally, Faustus's attitude is very arrogant and self-advancing. He makes his decisions to benefit himself and ignores the rules of society. Faustus makes various comments exposing his thoughts that he is above others. For example, he says, The emperor shall not live but by my leave, nor any potentate of Germany. This reveals the arrogance Faustus possesses and his intentional distinction between himself and the rest of society. Dr. Faustus is a play that discovers themes of good versus evil, religion, sin, and knowledge. Within that, the theme of a person's driving factor, being desired power, is developed. Faustus encompasses this theme throughout the play, as he sells his soul to Lucifer and disregards God to obtain ultimate power. In doing so, Faustus removes himself from society and eventually comes to regret his decision to live in hell eternally.